What's up, guys? Back for another Honkai Star Rail video. In this video, we're going to talk about some drama. Yep, drama. This is a technically second or maybe third time talking about drama on the channel, but that's because it's actually just straight up about Star Rail this time, right? Now, on Twitter, rather recently actually, I saw this. People are throwing down about power creep. Yes, I won't say who exactly because I don't really care about the actual oh he said she said oh, they're fighting yada yada all that stuff. I really just care about the actual conversation, which is power creep in general. So because of that, I'm gonna leave out some names. I'm sure those of you who keep up with other creators are gonna know exactly what it is. Good for you. But anyway, is power creep an issue, all that good stuff. So how I'm gonna go at it is I'm gonna rank characters on how good they are with endgame modes, and then once I've ranked them in my opinion, we will go over what I think about power creep. Is it bad? Is it killing the game? All that good stuff. So first things first, let's go over to a tier list real quick. I'm not too sure if I'll have anyone in unsure, but let's just start going through it. We have physical MC, yikes. Bailu, no cleanse. Bronya's good. Clara is, in my opinion, falling off. And this is, by the way, E0, S1 at best, right? I'm not going to go about dupes because if we talk about dupes, there's no power creep issue at all in Star Rail. If you are a dupe chaser, you have dupes in all your units, you do not have anything to worry about. You are clearing everything just fine. And if you're not, I question your ability to play the game, because if you got like an E2 Robin, E2 Runway, E3 Sunday, E whatever, like you got it, bro. You hit auto and you win, bro. It is what it is, right? Jeopard, yikes. Himiko's meta, well, has like the smallest nichest amount of use. Bad. Falling off, trust me, I use also absurd amount. Bad. Meta. Bad. Good. Bad. Falling off, but has some use. Bad. The 4 stars by the way will be E6. They're fine with that. Bad. I'm putting her bad, honestly. Jingyun is somehow meta. Thank you, Sunday. Servos has like the slightest nichest use at the moment. Like she's probably should be in bad, but I'll be very kind. Boom, 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 boom. I'm so sorry, Jinglo. Topaz is good. You are fine where you're at. Argenti's really fucking good in Pure Fictions. He's up there. You're up there. You're realistically, who the hell is using Anya? Like 100 million%. We're putting Anya in bad. It is what it is. She probably has like some use actually. We'll put her in falling off. Like it's just a very niche ass use. Probably should have an extra tier like super niche, but I don't really care enough to do that. This isn't really the main part of the video. At least not in not one that I really care about. I'm just making this to get a good overall look on how many characters we have in like meta and how many characters we have in like the other tiers. Boom, 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 boom. And then Herda and Agli will probably be in meta. Let's be 100%. From off this, I'm assuming he's gonna be here, but let's not rank it, right? So quick little rundown on my opinion, right? Do note this is with E0. Sure, they can have an S1 light cone, whatever, right? That's just in my opinion. If you want to change up some things, sure, go ahead, right? But this should mostly be somewhat correct, right? Regardless, we have a lot of characters from the bad, and because of power creep, a lot of the times you're not going to be able to use them unless you have your supports heavily invested in. And because of that, people make jokes that we play Honkai support rail, and that is 1,000,000% true. If you have a good support or even a dupes in your supports make them even more broken, you can run a lot of the characters who have actually fallen off and are pretty bad right now. Literally, look at Jingyun. He got a perfect support and he went from being like straight up in like a awful bad tier to he's meta now. He's broken. He's like really good. Like you can make a good argument that he's better than Acheron. I think he just straight up is better than E0 Acheron. It's crazy. Like that is insane, right? However, Starro doesn't actually like to really give a damn about the past units, and one issue I have, I've preached it a million times, we do not have good alternatives, right? Starro has a awful, 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 I could say awful like 20 more times. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking out on the word now. God damn it! And has a bad time having good substitutes. It used to. It used to have an amazing time, right? You could run uh, like Tingyun instead of Bronya, right? Like back in the day, she was a solid support. So if you didn't have like Bronya was still really good and you couldn't replace her, you could run someone like Tingyun. People were running Pela, sort of in that like supportive slot, right? People were running Asta. Oh, you don't have Jingyun, you run Serval. That was a good option. Hell, nowadays if you don't have Topaz, you run Mose or March. You don't have Linksha, you run Gallagher, right? Another quantum one back in the day was you don't have Zelda, you run QQ. Like there was just a bunch of options of, albeit worse options, but they're still options nonetheless, and you could still use them with efficiency. The thing that was really good about having 4 stars is if you didn't have Topaz or didn't want to summon for Topaz, maybe I don't have Topaz, and I'm not going to summon for Topaz. I have Mose and March. I don't need to, right? That was a good option to fall back on. Now, we don't really get those. We got March and the Harmony MC, and then we got Misha, Mose, and Gallagher. Misha is awful. Yikes. Gallagher, really good. Mose, really good. And that was it. If we got a 4-star every single banner, that would help mitigate some of the power creep, at least to me, unless they just obviously keep boosting the HP over and over. I don't think the HP is necessarily the issue. It is kind of, but I think it's more so the power of the characters influencing the HP, because if they didn't increase the HP, you would just, summon a new character, one shot it, be about your business. I do think that the DPSs do age a bit too quickly for my liking, right? Now, obviously, this is a gacha game at the end of the day, but I kind of wish my DPSs had a bit more of a lifespan to it. Just in my opinion, I have a lot more fun being able to run a variety of characters versus just running the same thing every time. And it's pretty much just come down to, Super Break, Follow Up, Acheron. Now, obviously, we have Jingyun, and I have Splash some good old Yun Li in there, but that's just because I spend money on the game and I can do that. If you are a free-to-play, you aren't going to have the luxury and you're pretty much just going to be hard stuck playing the same 2 teams. And people will say, oh, well, if you're free-to-play, you got to really manage your account. I 100% agree. If you are free-to-play, you can manage your account and be able to clear all the content easily. Probably not, right? You probably do have to get lucky. And if you are pretty unlucky and you lose every 50-50, it's going to be extremely hard to do that. Unless you get a couple, lucky pulls, or you get like really good relic rolls, or maybe you get lucky on the light cone banners. You need to have some sort of luck, unfortunately. Because if you get absolutely rolled, that's a yikes. Your account's going to struggle. Trust me, I would be in that scenario on my account. I have a very unlucky account. I lose 50-50s pretty much every single time, but I'm able to get the characters because I spend money. Right now, I don't think that Starro's endgame should be determined on how much you spend. I think that free-to-play players should be able to do it if they invest in their accounts, right? However, I have done a bunch of budget runs. I spent literally hours trying to use the 2 5-stars that are currently out that patch and a bunch of 4-stars or free characters like Harmony MC, Ratio, all that, and I struggle to do it. Now, do I have the most insane relics on mankind? No. Do I have some decent relics? Yeah, and it's extremely hard for me to do that, right? But that's not realistic. A lot of people will run like Robin, or they'll have Firefly, or they'll have a DPS most of the time, which fair, but they still struggle a bit more than they should, especially when they don't have dupes. So, overall, do I think Starl has a power creep problem? Yes, but it's not the end-all be-all that people, say it is. If you only summon for the characters you like, then unfortunately, you're going to have to just take the L and not be able to clear certain content. Is that bad? No, it's straight up like, bro, you get like maybe a single every 2 weeks that you're not getting. That's not going to be the end of your account. It doesn't really matter. However, I do know that people like to actually be able to clear the content in the game they're playing. Trust me, I feel the same way. If I wasn't able to beat it, I'd probably feel pretty sad too, and I'd either spend to help fix that, or I just wouldn't play the game, right? So it's completely valid for you to get mad at power creep and not be able to clear stuff. However, you have to keep in mind that if you just summon for the character you like, it's not going to go well. However, I do think people kind of jump on players a little too much with that, because I'm just hoping we get to a point to where if I summon for certain characters and occasionally want to go for an older character or maybe a dupe in a character, it shouldn't almost derail my whole account to be like, oh, I really like the character of Blade. Like, I think Blade is sick. I didn't get Blade on his initial banner, and I couldn't get him on his rerun, right? So now, if I summon for Blade, I'm like trolling because he's bad, right? But maybe people just want to collect the characters. I am a huge fan of collecting characters. Hell, that's kind of the point of a gacha game, right? So when we have stuff in like Dokkan, right, and I pull a character that's unusable but I never had before, I'm like, oh, yo, have him. That's sick. That's just a gacha game to me, right? It's collecting things. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. But yeah, it's the whole point is collecting things. I like being able to run multiple things and try out fun, wacky stuff and not be like super penalized for it, right? I would never summon for Blade. I'm never ever summoning for Blade unless I make a disgustingly good amount of money, which I don't. I'm not summoning for Blade. It would be a detriment to my account to do that, right? Especially if you're free to play. You wouldn't be able to summon. Plus, there's the whole thing of Hoyo doesn't officially release things in a manner for you to be able to be free to play, be anywhere near not lucky, right? If you are unlucky, you lose 50/50s left and right, and you don't look at leaks. I actually don't get how you're able to really play Starro unless you just stockpile a ton of currency and have a little bit to fall back on. If you try to get one character every 2 patches and try to make a team about that, I can only imagine how like awful that is, right? Now, I think you get a 5-star every patch, a 5-star and like some change. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't looked at the Stellar Jade count in a minute, but if you lose 50/50, it is so rough. Trust me, I lose 50/50s and I spend it. It is still rough, right? I don't know how the hell some of these free-to-plays have eidolons in their characters, right? Unless they just full on like super invest in one character or like one team, which, you know, you should. Unfortunately, you know, there's not really a lot of room to summon for characters you like in this game. It is how it is, you know. Characters age a little too quick, or if you make a bad decision and summon for Dot, like I did. I'm an E2 Kafka, and you know she clears, but you know I could just pull up with Phase Out E0 and clear just way quicker, and it's just I just feel like DPS characters age a little too quick. The supports, they're fine, right? They're fine. The supporting characters, they're good. Sustains, they're pretty good. Like Luocha, even though he doesn't really do anything, it's like whatever, he still heals pretty good. Fushwan, while having her issues with like AoEs, still gives crit rate and still can sustain long enough for you to probably get the kill anyway. Payless still good since day one. Tingen's still good from day one. Her like Pure Fiction revitalized Herda, right? So there's not a huge flaw in this system, but it definitely has some cracks, and the cracks is really just DPSs, they got to chill. I think a good safe spot would be if Don Hang and Jinglu, I wouldn't say are still good, but Ratio also kind of struggles. Maybe I'm trying to think of an exact time. I think if Danheng and Jinglu were just now starting to fall off and not already falling off would be a good time, right? Around like a little bit more than a year, right? A year and a couple months, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the exact time that Jinglu and Danheng came out, right? Would be good. Danheng with Sparkle, I don't have Sparkle, so this could be mad cope. I feel like it's still like a little bit okay. I've used Jinglu, I've E1, and good lord, I straight up have not gotten the 5 cycle before. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough. Obviously, a good support could fix this, but I feel like as long as multiple characters can clear at E0 with E0 supports, then it'd be okay. Obviously, some people are gonna be like, actually, I cleared with E0. I'm talking about like comfortably clear with not like the most insane relics, just baseline stuff. And of course, I'm definitely gonna get comments regardless of that. I cleared it just fine. You have no idea what you're talking about. I've used the units. Their damage is pretty damn bad sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, hey, that's just what I want. I just like having the freedom to use more characters. That's why I have a little bit of an issue with, you know, where the direction of the game is going. I think Star Roll is just not extremely fun at the moment. I feel like I'm always using the same characters despite summoning on most of the banners. Obviously, I am missing some of the characters, but I feel like the game just promotes you to use the best characters to really have a good, comfortable chance. And if you're using characters who are a little bit old, you're going to struggle a lot and be like, damn, I can't believe it took me like 6 cycles to do this. This is crazy. I'm not using this character again, right? It's just weird. I know it's a gacha game, so I shouldn't complain too much. It's just how they are sometimes, but I don't know. It just bothers me. I just wish it was more crazy enough. I'm saying this like Genshin, where you can just use a lot of characters and still get a good clear with them. Hell, I was using, who was it? I was doing on my theater. I was using, I can't even remember, bro. It was like an unleveled character, and I was still doing good. Or I was using like Ayaka again, and I haven't used Ayaka in a while. You know, Krau's in a weird spot on that game, but I was using Ayaka, and I was like, yo, this is sick. I haven't used Ayaka in so long, and she was doing good, and it just, I want that for Sorrow, man. I want to look at Blade and be like, oh, well, maybe Blade might get like a busted support. Like maybe Triby's like the crazy ass Blade support, and I can summon for Blade and not feel like I wasted my time with him. But man, even just 4 stars, bro. I want to be like, yo, I got to clear with Win Dongheng. And yeah, can you get a clear with Win Dongheng? Yeah, you're probably going to have like E2 Robin or something juicing him up. And at that point, it's just the supports funneling their damage numbers into a character with a blank face on it, right? Doesn't matter who it is. It could be Hook, Arlen, Dongheng, Yanqing, Blade, Sampo, Luca, Susheng, QQ, it doesn't matter. It's just the supports at that point. I want the actual character to be it. But anyway, I've ranted on long enough, bro. Like, actually just long enough. This is becoming just me complaining about not being able to use characters at this point. Power creep, at the end of the day, is not nearly as bad as people think it is, but people who say power creep isn't a thing at all are actually just delusional. It definitely is. They're definitely umphing it up, and I do think that it is going to be a issue that we definitely gotta figure out a different way to go about it. How they do that, I'm not too sure. I know that Dokkan has like EZAs, Legends has Zenkais, Grand Cross has Holy Relics. What is Wuwa doing? I think they're called Phantom Echoes or Unknown Echoes, something like that. It's pretty much the same stat. It'd pretty much be like if we had a Von Wax set, but it action advanced you by 50%, gave you energy, and then made it to when you attacked or ulted or maybe did like a buff to an ally, you would gain energy and they would gain attack. And you're like, wow, this is crazy. This is a buff for this character. Or something like, oh, if this character loses HP, they get like 20% crit damage. You're like, oh, this is the HP set for Blade, and this makes Blade like a way better unit. Whatever they want to do about it, I feel like this game could definitely benefit from a sort of EZA / buff system that some of these other gacha games do. I think if they go about that, no more complaining about power creep, bro. We're doing good. However, it's a Hoyo game. I don't think that's gonna happen. It's kind of the whole point of dupes, but we're definitely at a point where, you know, you summon on the wrong character to get dupes in them to use them, like I said, and you just kind of screwed yourself. Like, I can't imagine like going all in on Jinglu and then seeing her damage nowadays is like, yikes, especially for free to play, and you kind of just like, oh, I could have had Robin, I could have had, you know, Boot Hill, Firefly, Yun Li, but I went for E3 Jinglu, and now her damage is, you know, worse than a Rappo with no Ruin Mei, you know. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna wrap up the video. Let me know what you think of Power Creep in the comments below. Do you think it's not a thing? Do you think that it's, you know, awful, horrendous? Are you slightly noticing it? Do you think there's issues with it? Do you think it's fine how it is? Let me know in the comments, and of course I will catch y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.